Okay, so we were talking about consequences of crime, and I explained to you about two variants: psychological punishment, theory of punishment, and socio-biological theory of punishment. So, psychological punishment, it talks about positive and negative punishment. Positive punishment being punishing with a deterrence, say for example imprisonment or something. Negative punishment is punishment through a desertion or removal of a pleasant stimulus. So in a classroom scenario, beating up a student for a mistake is positive punishment. Taking away the student's recess period or a play privilege time during class is negative punishment. And psychologically, this theory of negative and positive punishment, it's shown some good amount of correction. Both are good enough. Sociobiological theory of punishment or theory of consequence of crime, it says that punishment is a retaliatory or moralistic aggression from the society at large. So the entire society takes it up on themselves to retaliate and morally be aggressive against the criminal in order to give him a consequence for the crime that he has committed. So, retaliatory meaning against the criminal, moralistic meaning teaching him the right way. Okay, so uh, socio-biological theory states that the society at large gets up and fights against the criminal or retaliates against the criminal. Therefore, that consequence is unbearable for the criminal and he changes. That is what happens in today's world also. So society is the law system that is available in a country. That is what punishes the criminal when he is found to have committed a crime. So punishment, if you want to
Sir,
generalize punishment, yeah.
will you repeat that, sir?
So socio-biological theory of punishment, it basically states that punishment is a retaliatory or moralistic aggression by the society. So the society at large finds a person has committed a crime, so they retaliate or fight against the criminal or act against the criminal, teach him some good sense in a moral way. Okay, so they both retaliate and at the same time teach morals for the criminal. Okay, so society gives the punishment, is what socio-biological theory speaks of consequence of crime. Hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so generally speaking, punishment is an imposition of a undesirable, unpleasant outcome upon a person or a group. So it can be a person or a group which is found to be criminal. Punishment is something undesirable, something that they don't want, something that they don't like to do, is forced upon the person by an authority. Okay, so a court, police department, they put a undesirable or unpleasant condition for the criminal in order to, for him, as a consequence of his crime. Okay, so it can be a unpleasant thing, payment of a fine, payment of a a penalty, being in confinement in a jail. Okay, or it can be something like removal of something pleasant. Okay, supposing uh, punishment can also be uh, dismissal from service. Okay, government service for example, so he's working in a government job, getting his monthly pay, having his terminal benefits, but then he's found to be a criminal, he is removed from service. That is a unpleasant thing that has happened to him. Okay, so that is also a type of consequence of his crime, a punishment. Okay, so the punishment can either be on a single person or on a group which is found to be criminal, sometimes even on animals. In certain countries, acts are passed even when animals kind of end up killing people or end up damaging property, things like that. Okay, so animals are also fined or animals are also punished sometimes in certain countries. Okay, so still criminology speaks about people, groups and animals as possible criminals. So even the authority which is punishing the person can be the Department of Justice. It can be a single person also at times. For example, Lokayukta in, say, a state like Karnataka, the Lokayukta, based on his discretion, without consultation with the court, can also punish a person. Okay, so usually it's the punishment is meted out by a system of law which is prevalent in that particular country. Okay, in a country like India, rural pockets, we have Panchayat Raj, where panchayats also can give away punishment, and even in a very culture bound system in certain parts of India, the family members itself will give out punishment to a person in the family when he is found to have committed a crime. Okay, whatever said and done, it is a person of authority or a group of authority placing a consequence for the crime that that criminal has committed. Okay, so this practice of punishment, this practice of putting punishments is called penology. Okay, penal means punishment. Okay, so the study of all these punishment measures, consequence measures for crime, things like that, that study is entirely called as penology. So when we speak of penology, we speak of imprisonment mostly. So that is the major part of punishment. It's also called the correctional process or correctional administration. Okay, so imprisonment is the major form of punishments that are available both in India as well as other countries. But then that is not the only punishment. Imprisonment is not the only punishment. So when we speak about punishment, we want to, number one, retribute in the sense, if a person has stolen money from the bank, we want the person to give back the money. Okay, he has to give back the money. If he's committed a crime like violence of murder or rape or something, we want the person to be retributed. We want the person to face the consequence of his actions. Okay, so he's killed my brother, so I want him to suffer the same pain that he meted out to my brother. Okay, retribute that pain. So put him in jail or put him in death sentence. Retribution is one thing that we want by punishment or deterrence. We don't want him to do it again. We want him to stop. We don't want him to keep continuing murder or any other crime. So we want to deter the person from committing that particular crime again. And we also want him to be rehabilitated. Okay, we don't want him to stay in jail for 2 days, come back later and again start doing the same thing. We want him to be rehabilitated to a normal person. And also incapacitation. So in olden days mostly, so if somebody stole using his right hand used to be chopped off. Okay, very ancient practice. And there are so many things, like taking off the thumb, taking off the lip, taking off the genital organs of males when they commit rape. Okay, and things like that. Usually it will be the limbs and things like that which are incapacitated, amputated, in order to ensure that they don't do it again, and also to ensure that he has been revenged for or avenged for. Okay, so incapacitation also is part of this punishment process. So there are multiple reasons why we, or justification for punishment procedures. Okay, so usually speak of the modern world, we speak of punishments of varying degrees. Okay, depending on the crime, your punishment gets decided, is the modern day understanding of punishment and consequence to crime. Okay, so a traffic violation will lead to a fine. A traffic accident, hit and run, will lead to imprisonment. A traffic incident where it was intentional murder using a vehicle will lead to, say, death sentence, for example. Okay, depending on the degree of severity of a crime, your punishment is also going to get severe. So it can be deprivation of liberty, putting yourself in jail. It can be a fine. It can be incarceration meaning not allowed to drive the vehicle again, not allowed to work in the government again. Okay, terminating his chance of committing or being in that normal space that he used to have, incarcerations, ostracism, putting him out of the society, not allowing him to come into the village, not allowing him to come into the town, making him anti-social person, infliction of pain, amputation, or even death. Okay, so there are different degrees of severity which determine different degrees of punishment also. So deprivation of privileges of liberty, fines, incarceration, ostracism, infliction of pain, amputation, and death penalty also. So can somebody tell me what are the different punishments that are available in a country like ours? Can you list out a few? Anybody?
So
Life imprisonment, yes. What is life imprisonment? What is the period the person has to serve for life imprisonment? Anybody?
12 years.
12 years, sir.
Is it 12 or 14?
12.
It's 14.
14.
Okay,
14.
14 years. Life imprisonment is 14 years. Anybody else? Any other punishment that is given in India? What did Nirbhaya convicts get?
Death by hanging, sir.
Yeah, death by hanging is the severest form of punishment in India, capital punishment as it's called. Okay, next is life imprisonment. Anything else? If you say life imprisonment, is there anything less than life imprisonment? Okay, short period imprisonment, fixed period imprisonment it's called. So you can get 10 years, 12 years, 6 years, 2 years, 1 year, 6 months. There are multiple types of imprisonment other than life imprisonment also. Okay, anything else? What happened to the juvenile in
penalty?
penalty? Yes, fine, yes. Yes, fine is very common. Along with imprisonment, fine is also levied. And what happened to the juvenile in the Nirbhaya case?
So it's kept in an observation home.
Yes. So observation homes or brothel homes can also be one form of deterrence. So they'll be placed in brothel homes or layman term observation homes where they'll be rehabilitated back into society. Anything else? I think I mentioned today morning, social service. Okay, so social work. That's also something that India practices. So death by hanging, capital punishment, life imprisonment, short-term imprisonment, fine or penalty, brothel school, observation home stays for juveniles, and also social work is one more of the consequences of crime that India uses. So in certain cases, rare scenarios, people who are caught in public disorder, public nuisance kind of cases, they'll be sent to perform some social work or the other for a day or two, okay, depending on the nuisance that they've caused, just to rehabilitate them, make them think what they've done is right or wrong, okay, to just pinch their conscience, right? So these are the punishments that are available in India. Just understand what each one is, okay? Death by hanging is capital punishment or death sentence. So here in India we practice hanging. What is practiced in America? Anybody?
Sir, electric chair.
No, electric chair is not for use now. Presently, it used to be used, but then from 2010, it's been stopped. What do they use?
Lethal injection.
Lethal injection of a neurotoxin. Okay, so just know these things.